Not that it's important, but I'm Eric. I write for Yahoo and do some other things in town for movies and screenings. Today, I want you to give a hand for Alaina Huffman. She is from Smallville and from Stargate. She's also done some stuff on the NCI shows. Let's give her a hand. And I did say your name correctly, yes?
Yeah, I didn't really listen. Alaina Huffman.
Okay.
I don't know, did he say it right? Yeah. Awesome. You did.
All right. Sometimes I get nervous at these things and kind of, you know.
Me too.
I guess we can start off. We're going to do some Q&A here in a little bit. You can line up or raise your hand, whatever you want to do. How did you get started with this? I mean, you're in Smallville now, which is in its last season. You play Black Canary, which is an extremely big character, a main character of the Justice League, you know. How did all that get started? I mean, where did you get started as an actor? Actress?
Wait, no, I say actor.
Okay.
You say actress. Tomato, tomato. I started my career as a model, a fashion model. I was approached in a shopping mall, one of those funny stories, and I checked out the agency, and they were really legit. And I was 12 years old, and a few years later, I was living in Tokyo, or a few months later, rather, I was living in Tokyo at 14 years old, and I did quite a few contracts. I homeschooled myself through high school, and did a few contracts back and forth between Japan, Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, and home. And then I went home for the last year of high school, and I graduated. And right after that, I moved to Germany, still modeling. And I was planning on being like this bohemian model chick, and I was gonna like live out of my suitcase, and travel to Spain and lounge on the beaches. And my parents called me and said they had moved to the States, and if I came, I would get a green card. I was like, cool, you guys moved to New York? And they were like, no, Dallas. And I was like, really? Okay. So I ended up coming to Dallas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I moved from Germany to Dallas. And let me tell you, the culture shock from moving from Canada to Tokyo was far less than Canada to Dallas. I don't know why. It is its own country down here. And I love it. And I'm still modeling here. And this was sort of the time, this was 2000, 99, 2000, and this was kind of the time when you saw less and less fashion models on the covers of magazines and more actresses. And so a lot of agencies, I was with Paige Parks here in Dallas, and Paige called me into her office one day and she said, listen, I want you to be an actress. And I was like, really? She said, yeah. I said, well, I did a little children's theater when I was a kid, and I think I'd like that. And I had actually done a pilot when I was 12 years old. There was an audition in Vancouver in the paper. I read it in the paper, and I told my parents, I'm just going to go downtown and audition for this TV show. And they were like, you are? I said, yeah. So I took the train downtown, and I auditioned. I got one of the roles, and we shot the pilot, but it never went anywhere. And then I started my modeling career. Right. So anyway, so Paige said, I want you to be an actress, and you know, there's a couple movies in town, and you should read for them. And so I read for one. It was called Pendulum, and it shot here in 2001. And I got one of the strong supporting characters on it, and I was like, this is the best career ever. You can eat, and it's fun. That was a joke. Anyway, and then I did several movies between Dallas and Austin. I did about 8 or so movies and little small indie films, and then I moved out to LA, and then I've been living in LA for the last 8 or 9 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I started my really television.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I have 2 careers. I have a television acting movie career, and then I'm a mom.
Right.
So.
And you told me a little bit about that over here, and I had stated to you that I'm very respectful of that because, I mean, I'm married, I've been married for a while, I got 2 kids. I find it hard to do what I do part-time. I can't even think about how you balance it. I mean, how do you balance that sort of thing?
What is balance? I have 3 kids. So I've been able to grow my family as I've grown my career, which I'm very, very grateful for. But I sort of, I think, you know, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. and I just sort of figure it out along the way. My oldest is almost 7, and the baby is 1, and I got a 4-year-old, so I got 6, 4, and a 1-year-old, and they go everywhere with me. So if someone says, hey, you got a job in Vancouver, I say, okay, and pack up a U-Haul and drive to Canada. And I've done that the last couple of years, and I don't know, I just figured it out. I use my crock pot a lot. Makes things easier.
And you actually take them on the set sometimes, you said?
Yeah,
Quite a bit?
Yeah, we figured out the whole school thing. They both go to Montessori, the older two go to Montessori. And I homeschooled myself through high school, so I think I can homeschool some kids. Figure it out. If I got through high school, I think I could do elementary, maybe. But I have a funny story about that, because a lot of actresses, they wait a long time to have kids, which is fine. Everyone sort of has their focus. But I remember I was I dropped my kids off at school one day, and I was all dressed up, I had my makeup on and everything. It was early in the morning, and my friend Bobby said to me, he's like, hey, you got an audition? You're all dressed up? And I said, yeah, I got an audition. He said, with who? I said, John Papsadero, he's a casting director in LA. And he said, oh, tell him I say hi. So I said, okay. So I went into my audition. I said, oh, by the way, Bobby says hi. And he's like, you know Bobby? How do you know Bobby? Because our kids go to high school, or go to elementary school together, preschool. And he's like, you have kids? You have 8 kids? I said, yeah, I have kids. And he's like, when did you have kids? I met you the first day you moved to LA. You were single. And I was like, in between auditions. Way you do it.
Now, you, one last question for me, and I'll let them take over. It's their room. What you're doing Smallville, how is it working with those guys? Tom Welling, I guess I'll try to kind of slip this in. Is Lex Luthor coming back? Or wait, I'm sorry, technically Michael Rosenbaum. Is he coming back? No, I know you can't answer that. How is it working with him?
Oh, it's tough. You see the guys I have to work with? Really, and they wear really tight clothes. It's great. It's a really great show to work on. We get to do really great, fun things. They have there's always like some sort of stunt or thing you have to do, and the stunt coordinator will walk up to you and be like, hey, you want to learn how to throw knives? And you're like, okay. Who doesn't want to learn how to throw knives? Or some sort of cool fight. The next episode I have is called Collateral, and it was supposed to air on Friday. I don't know if you guys all know that. It pushed. Yeah, it's next week. I don't know how it happened, but anyway. I have a really cool new stunt double who does these amazing. She's like a gymnast, and she does all these amazing flips and stuff. So I for the most part, try and do a lot of my own stunts and fights. Most of the fight stuff I do, but she's like on another. I can't do aerial flips. Sorry. I have other talents. That's not one of them. So that's it'll be a really good episode, but it's fun. And that working on Smallville is it can also present a challenge because I work on Stargate as well. So sometimes I'll do a double duty, and I remember we shot Doomsday, which was the season finale of season 9 or 8. 8. You guys know. I don't remember. It all mushes together. And I worked on Stargate in the morning, and I had to be at work at like 6. So I got up at like 5 and got to work and did my thing, and then Smallville came and picked me up at the studio, Smallville shoots about 20 minutes away. And I got there at like noon or 1, and I ended up working till 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning. And I had this one line, and because it was Doomsday and it was this, season finale script, it was top secret, so they couldn't email it, which they usually do. So I got it the night before, and it had this line. You guys ready for it? I should be able to impact the scan shift frequency scaling they use as safeguards and directly route thermal safe algorithms to embed frequency anomalies into the surface area and subsequently any hardware. And they cut it. Yeah. I was like, what? I've been up all day. Anyways, they were running over on time or something.
You had to practice that one more than the regular dialogue, right?
Yes. Poor Justin was like, sit down, you're going to learn this line, because I was reading it forever. I was like, who says this? What does it mean? Anyway, I finally learned it, obviously.
I do actually have one very small question.
Yes.
The stuff on the eyes, like your mask?
Yeah, it's makeup.
Is that, okay, so it's makeup?
Yeah.
It's not like a piece or anything? I was always wondering that. Okay.
No, they hand paint it. It's
that's what, okay.
Yeah, she starts with the black mask, and then she does the feathers, and then the yellow, and then the red.
Okay, all right.
I usually get a really
Sorry, guys.
right here afterwards.
Wow. Okay. Go ahead.
I guess I'll have to take that as sarcasm that you were complaining that you were on a set with a bunch of people in tights. I mean, especially that good-looking crowd.
Yes.
Anyway, the last few seasons of Smallville seem to have been gearing up for its close and moving into the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us any hints as to whether or not there will be a series, The Justice League? And if they bring them back, will they have the Kid Flash, and will they finally start calling him the Flash?
Instead of Impulse?
Yeah.
That's a tough one, because Kyle is like a movie star now. But I would love to tell you that they're doing a Justice League show. I have no idea. I know they want to do something, and they've got this beautiful set that they've built over the last 10 years, and this beautiful back lot that they've spent a lot of money on, and it's, you know, they got a great crew that works together every day, and Tom's now, you know, a producer, so it would be ideal, but I have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, he seems real invested in the show, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, and his other show, he's got Hellcats, and he's a busy
I
guy.
didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah, he's an EP of Hellcats, and he's an executive producer on Smallville, and it would be fun. Yeah, it would definitely keep my diet in check. Having to wear those shorts all the time. And my fishnets. My heels get stuck in those fishnets all the time. I just want you guys to know that. I'm trying to do kicks and stuff. I'm like, oh man.
Hi. I've been listening to a lot of the commentaries that you guys recorded for the Stargate Universe Season 1. The box set, you've been great. Just wondering, did you get a chance to record any commentaries in Season 2 before you left?
Yes. We got up to, I think, what episode was it? We got up to one episode on that, and we hadn't seen it yet, so the commentary is really quiet because we're watching it. But we got about halfway through the second half, or the first half of the second season, and what I think, now y'all know that Stargate got canceled.
The universe one?
Yeah. So, but because none of us we won't all be in the same place, I think what we're going to do is have a party at my house and knock out a few commentaries in my living room. So it might be noisy, unless I get a babysitter. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do them, because they're fun, right? Yeah. I like them.
He brought up the Stargate Universe thing. Did you work with Miranda?
No.
Because she was on there, wasn't she?
She
On
was
Stargate?
on SG-1.
Oh, okay. I thought she said she was on the Universe too. I don't watch Stargate. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
no, she was. I'm like, well, I don't know. No.
Okay.
Not Universe. She was on SG-1. But you know, I get to meet all the, everyone's so great from the whole franchise. So I have lots of Stargate friends.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Can you tell us about Agent Mom and where that is in production?
Sure, thanks. Yeah, this year I launched my own comic book, and the concept was mine and my husband's, and it's called Agent Mom, and she is the world's greatest secret agent, so we think. And she, you know, balances her home life as a mom of two and her espionage life, where she works as a secret agent and rescues the world from terror. So we first came up with the concept and had some drawings done and sort of made like a plot point. And then I went to London Expo in London, and I told the promoter I was looking, you know, for a comic book writer to sort of co-create with. And he introduced me to Tony Lee, who writes for Doctor Who, and he writes Sherlock Holmes and all these really great comic books. And so he and I got to talking, and he and I, you know, collaborated, and so now we've got a 22-page book called Agent Mom, and we've got Dan Boltwood did our art, and we signed a deal with Viacom MTV this